Welcome.
to being recorded.
You just ruined my intro.
You can edit. You can cut this. My bad.
It's all good. Welcome to week 2 of fantasy football. This is the Weekend Warrior Weekly Update Show, aka the Wuss. Welcome. This is the second week, which means that everybody is trying to shop the players that haven't done that great this far, when they probably should hold on to them and see how good they've done. I've gotten some horrid trade requests in some of my other leagues, not this one, but it happens. It happens a ton. I got Tanner Wilson and Randall Parmley, some other owners. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
What's going on?
Randy's bringing the energy already. So I'm going to go ahead and hop right into the game results here. So let's see. Let's minimize this. Share screen. Boom. So we're just going to run over the week 2 game results here. Hopefully y'all can see that nice and big this time. I think that was one of the things. So let's get started here. So on Thursday night, the Giants took on the Washington football team. The Giants laid an egg in true Giants fashion. Danny Dimes couldn't get it figured out. Washington, the defense maybe hasn't done what people thought they would do at this point, but shout out to Taylor Heineke stepping in and being able to get the job done. Washington takes the win 30-29 on Thursday night. My Steelers lose to the Raiders 26-17. 2-0 Raiders. Have we seen that? Maybe we haven't seen that in a while.
That's for sure.
Derek Carr looks money. Darren Waller and Henry Ruggs is becoming a real wide-out threat. The Steelers defense, while I have to sprinkle in one excuse, we had a lot of defensive guys out on that side of the ball, but the offense looks like it might be one of the worst in the league. Raiders get the win on the road at the Heinz Field. Steelers opener 26-17. 49ers beat the Eagles. The Eagles kind of come back down to earth after a good solid first week. Jared Garoppolo getting it done. Kind of a sloppy game, really not a high score. I think even one of those touchdowns were a defensive touchdown. But Jalen Hurts will try to get it figured out in week 3. Jimmy Garoppolo, really they just need guys to stay healthy on that 49ers team, which so far they haven't, because this last 2 years have been brutal for them with injuries. 49ers get the win on the road in Philadelphia 17-11. Texans versus Browns. Browns take the win at home versus the Texans. Welcome, Dylan. What's up? Say hi. He can't say hi.
All right.
No, he said hi. Browns get the win at home over the Texans 31-21. The Texans are just, honestly, they're not as bad as what people were thinking they were. They hung around with the Browns, who people have pegged to win the AFC North. I know I do. Baker Mayfield looks good when you have that crazy running core. I mean, it just looks like that might be the best running game in the entire league. I feel bad for Tyrod Taylor, though, going down in this game. He has that sick mustache, but it is what it is. You know, the Browns take the win, kind of like everybody expected. Let's move on. Broncos beat the Jaguars on the road in Jacksonville, 23-13. Teddy B looks like he's a really competent quarterback. I swear the guy can throw just about any ball you need him to. Even with Jerry Jeudy out, the offense kind of getting it done. Trevor Lawrence does look like a stud. He just doesn't have the weapons around him. Thank you for flashing the sponsorship there, Randall. But really, it's a bad football team going up against a competent one. 23-13 is the result there. The Saints lose on the road at the Panthers. I don't know if you guys remember, but in last week's episode, I kind of called that the Saints would come back down to earth, and losing to the Panthers is just that. Sam Darnold had a good connection with Christian McCaffrey, which is the formula for their winning. I think it's pretty funny that Sam Darnold also has a tight end called Dan Arnold, which kind of just sounds like it was like, you know, his clone or something. And he was catching passes for him too. Saints defense kind of looks like a wet paper bag in this game. against a young quarterback that really hasn't proven anything yet. And the Panthers D was all over Jameis Winston and the white dude when he came in. Doesn't matter. He's not the starter. Rams beat the Colts on the road. Colts are off to an 0-2 start. Good thing they're in that division. The Rams do look like a good football team, even with Matt Stafford not at his best here. The Colts, Carson Wentz is playing like a madman. I think he sprained two ankles in one play. I mean, that's just math. Not a good idea. He plays like a chicken with his head cut off again. A lot of times that's good. A lot of the times that's bad. Didn't work out for him in this game though. 27-24 is the result there. The Bills beat the dog piss out of the Dolphins at home. Tua actually goes down in this game. We'll check out his injury later, but the Bills offense, they pick right up where they left off last year after that tough week one. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs having a good game. Their running back core is looking a lot better than what I personally thought it would look like. Able to put up plenty of points on the Dolphins defense, but that poor defense is probably tired. The offense was never on the field. Patriots Jets, this was a stinker game. There was literally nothing fun to look at or watch about this game. I mean, the Patriots have a solid team behind Bill Belichick outside of quarterback, really. But it's a new guy coming in trying to learn the system. Does put up 25 points of offense, though. So what can you say? Zach Wilson, I think he threw 3 or 4 picks in this game. He is definitely not comfortable, but nobody is when you're a rookie quarterback looking at a Bill Belichick defense. Patriots get the win on the road against the Jets. The Jets are just as bad as everybody thought they would be. Sorry, Tanner. The Bengals go on the road to Chicago and lose to the Bears, which wouldn't be weird if they didn't play so well in the first game. The Bears did get a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow, who I think now has probably one of the largest GoFundMes for his next knee surgery if they can't get him any protection back there. But
you can calm down.
Right.
What did you say, Tanner?
I said he's got to calm down. Don't be talking that into existence.
I think he had a brutal game. Let's be honest, Tanner. He had a brutal game. Threw 3 straight interceptions on 3 straight throws. Kid was looking uncomfortable out there, which is uncharacteristic. But the Bears, you gotta give credit to the Bears defense. They still don't have their offense quite figured out, I don't think, but their defense was able to, get the ball in good positions on the field, which led to the low-scoring 20-17 result against the Bengals. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons at home. Tom Brady starts off 2-0, which is which is a much hotter start than they had last year, actually. The Buccaneers, a lot of people forget they didn't look that good, and it's kind of scary that they do this early in the season this year. I saw a tweet that said, if Tom Brady looks this good at 44, what's he going to look like when he's 90? I'm starting to wonder that myself. The guy is throwing absolute dimes everywhere. The Falcons, on the other hand, Matt Ryan, if he looks this good at 37, he'll be dead by 90. He is not getting it done. Cordarrelle Patterson, though, I'll give a shout out to him. The running back for Atlanta looked like he was the only one really enthused, but the Bucs offense is unstoppable. 2 touchdowns going to Mike Evans and Gronk in that game. They take the win 48-25 at home. The Cardinals and Vikings have a shootout in Arizona, with the Cardinals coming on top in a narrow victory, 34-33. I think a lot of people thought that the Cardinals would run away with this one. Shout out to the Vikings for hanging around. Kirk Cousins was throwing bullets, playing probably one of his best games I've seen him play. He's just having to face Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore looking good in this game. And you can say a lot about Adam Thielen on the other side. I mean, the guy is off to a really hot start, but 2 high-powered offenses meet, both of which had to scramble a lot and do their own thing at the quarterback position. So well done to those guys. Cardinals edge one out on top. The Titans go on the road to Seattle and beat the Seahawks 33-30. How do you like that? Titans figured out that if they got Derrick Henry the football, good things can happen. I don't know who the coach was in the huddle that got that message to him, but shout out to them. It works. I could have told them that. So they should be paying me their salary. Derrick Henry runs all over the Seahawks when they need him to the most. Seahawks had a good offense, but over time, I think it was a field position battle. And once you get Derrick Henry the football, that opens up all their wide receivers. So yeah, they ended up having a good night as well. Julio Jones gets in the mix finally. So everybody in Nashville could breathe a sigh of relief. And it's hard to get a win in Seattle. So kudos to the Titans. 33-30 is the result on the road. Welcome, Mac. I think you got your video off
Yeah,
there.
can you hear me?
We sure can, bud. We
Okay.
sure
I don't
can.
know how to turn the video on.
And for your sweet voice is all we need. That's all.
Okay. I'll figure out the video later.
All right. Got a couple more games here. The Cowboys beat the Chargers on the road 20-17. Sorry, Dylan. Congrats, Randall. I guess you're a Cowboys fan. You're more sure of it this week after a win than you were last week.
Hey, I am a clear weather fan.
Fair enough. Well, it's starting to look less and less like an 8-8 season again for the Cowboys. Mainly because you can't have an 8-8 season. There's 17 games this year. Just kidding. Cowboys look good in this one. So did the Chargers. Honestly, it was kind of about I thought this game had a lot to do with who could convert on third down. Justin Herbert honestly didn't have great ideas on third down. May not have been his fault. I didn't like a lot of the offensive play calling on third down in this one. I think it was conservative for the Chargers. The Cowboys seemed to go for it. CeeDee Lamb had a great game. They finally got the running game mixed in for the Cowboys in this one, even though it didn't come from who you might expect. So I think it was a Greg Zuerlein field goal to win this one. Chargers, they're playing every game in very slim margins, which is probably going to give Dylan a heart attack, which might have something to do with his graying that's been going on at a rapid rate there. Just thought I'd throw that jab in. 20-17 is the result. Cowboys over the Chargers on the road. Probably the game of the week. The Chiefs lose to the Ravens at home. I mean, Lamar Jackson stole the show in this one. Honestly, both teams had some sloppy points at the beginning of the game. Lamar threw some picks, and you started thinking, oh, boy, another loss to Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be a tough year, or if he doesn't win this game. They already had 2 or 3 running backs go down, along with Marcus Peters. This is a big puff your chest out win for the Ravens here. Lamar had some ridiculous plays. He looks like he's playing at a very, very high level, and he's up against grown athletes out there, making them look like children, basically. 2 high-powered offenses again. But it kind of came down to a gutsy 4th down call after that Chiefs running back fumbled the ball late in the game to give good field position to the Ravens. And you saw that little clip of Coach Harbaugh yelling at Lamar, should we go for it? And they do, and he takes the ball himself and he gets it. Shout out to Lamar for getting it done finally against his nemesis in the league. Ravens win 36-35. And then finally on the Monday night game, the Packers beat the Lions at home. I think the Packers fans can breathe a sigh of relief after their very poor effort in the first week. Aaron Rodgers looked like he remembered how to play football. Relax, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Again, you're going up against the Lions. Maybe not the opponent that you wanted to put the smack down on, but they finally got all their weapons integrated. Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns in this one. They probably could have gone to anybody the way Aaron Rodgers was throwing the ball again. Jared Goff did what he could, but there was just no way to get the offense off the field in the second half. I think the Lions were actually leading that one going into that half, and then I don't think they scored again. But such is the life of the Lions. They're not going to score that many points. They lose 17-35, and that is the last game of the week. What's up, guys?
What is going on, fellas? First of all, I would like to give a shout out to our new sponsor, brought to you by Taylor Heineke himself, Heineke. And beer.
The only thing that's going to be brought to you by Taylor Heineke is sadness and probably interceptions.
Hey, he had 336 yards passing. He is better than all of us.
That's fair. That's fair. I do
Listen.
wonder what most of us could do against the Giants. You know, like if one of us were to line up at quarterback and, you know, Tanner Wilson has some pretty heavy experience
Hey,
at tight end.
Yeah, he does. I want
Randy,
to tell y'all.
you're a linebacker. You
Absolutely.
were a tight end too. Okay.
Yeah.
So we just run a 3 tight end formation.
Yeah. Hey,
I guess, Dylan, I guess you're the QB.
I'm just saying this though. I run that scout team quarterback for the high school really well.
Do you think
You
like
might
a
as well be in
5?
the NFL at this point.
Do you think a 5-player, like a bench warmer style for football would work against a whole other football team? I don't know if that would work. We got one
Maybe
lineman,
flag football.
1 quarterback, and 3 tight ends. I don't think that would really pan out too
We don't
well.
even have a center.
No.
Can't even fight the ball.
Let's start off with Tanner. Let's go. I want to kind of talk about. We got to talk about the Bengals. You know, what good are you if you don't talk about them? Nobody else is going to. And then I want to talk about your fantasy team a little bit too, especially after you beat me in week 1 and you had some exciting things for the Bengals and you missed this last week. So just go ahead.
Well, first of all, before we even get started on the Bengals, I just want to say, I just want y'all to watch out for the Rams this year. I think the Rams, Matthew Stafford has essentially had his career wasted in Detroit. All he had was Calvin Johnson for that longest time. Now you're getting him in a system with Sean McVay, who was a quarterback coach and who was there with Jared Goff when Jared Goff, you know, actually had a couple of good years. I think that's just the system that Matthew Stafford needed. And like I said, he's got a great group of receivers out of Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and all of them. And then just an astounding defense, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and all of them. So just watch out for the Rams this year. Not saying they're going to win it all, but I think they'll definitely put a shot in the NFC
Wow.
and possibly go to the championship game.
Some surprising amount of Rams love. I didn't. Nobody expected that. I don't think. I think a lot of people did not attribute the lack of success in Detroit to Matthew Stafford. I think that would be an opinion that a lot of people would share with you. But he did have a lot of losing seasons. It's kind of tough to take away. Having said that, you're right. He does look good, 2-0 already. Talk about your fantasy team a little bit here. What happened in week 2 here?
So my fantasy team, well, let me just say I was getting nervous into the Monday night game because the guy I was playing had Devontae Adams, and I knew Aaron Rodgers was going to go off this game, especially after laying a goose egg against the Saints. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to happen. I'm like, oh, gosh, Devontae Adams. And then, you know, I'm watching this game, and it's like they just keep feeding Aaron Jones, and I'm just pumped. So Aaron Jones was a good player for me. But overall, I think, you know, my team went well. I thought Jarvis Landry was going to be a great pick to have at the flex. He's a very consistent player. He can usually give you anywhere from 10 to 12 points a game. But, of course, he saw he had a sprained MCL, so – you know, that ain't going to work now. We'll have to put in DJ Moore, and I was going to say, you know, that's also one of the reasons why I think Carolina's doing so good. DJ Moore's doing great at receiver and stuff. He's got a good hookup with Sam Darnold. And, of course, Robbie Anderson played with Sam Darnold in New York. So, you know, there's that combination. That offense is just firing on all cylinders. So expect DJ Moore to possibly be on my flex this upcoming.
Yeah, it looks like just looking at you here, it looks like that you had a lot of top line score. Maybe the rest of your guys didn't perform quite like you. Well, CD Lamb is a good value there, but Jonnu Smith not getting much done with Jarvis Landry going down early. Bills defense and the kicker actually putting up more points. So kind of like on the ends here, you had a lot of production. Everything else was just meh, but it got you the win this week. So congrats to you starting out 2-0. I'm going to move over to Dylan. We'll see what Dylan's team did. Let's see. Let's talk about them Chargers and the nuts and bolts here, Dylan.
Well, Chargers, like you talked about earlier, it was kind of a weird game, honestly. I mean, both teams were moving the ball. I think I saw something that said that there was a combined 1 or 2 punts the entire game, but the score was only 17-20. So riddle me that. But Chargers had 2 touchdowns called back from penalties. Justin Herbert was also called down by contact when he was in the middle of running backwards with the football. I was not very happy about that, but that's just the fan coming out of me, I guess.
Mhm.
Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen still did well. I feel like Keenan Allen especially is always just going to perform regardless of who he's got at quarterback. He's just so consistent. Yeah, that's all I got on now. I mean, we had chances to win the game. Penalties killed us.
Mhm.
And then I don't think the Cowboys handled the last possession all that well. They ran some clock off when they didn't have to. They could have moved the ball further down the field, and they made their kicker kick a 50-plus yard field goal. And luckily he made it, but
Mhm.
with inconsistencies.
It seemed like, back when we lived together, I got to see more Chargers games than probably anybody in St. Louis or LA. And it seemed like that was just the standard Chargers loss, like play you close all game. I think the little bit different about this team than last year's, the last several years' teams is the amount of penalties. I mean, they're the most penalized team in the league. That's a fact. And I know they had that new coach. So you got to think that once they stop kicking themselves in the, or shooting themselves in the foot, really, that they'll be able to push the ball around on people because they do have a really good offense. What about the fantasy team here?
Well, as you can probably tell, my wide receivers carried me the entire week. Got nothing out of Dak Prescott, nothing out of Antonio Gibson. Dalvin Cook had a really good statistical game, but scored no touchdowns, so it limited his fantasy points a little bit. Nothing from the defense, nothing from the kickers, but you can look. Cooper Kupp and Tyler Lockett alone dragged my team to victory this week. Just wanted to point out that I beat Randall on a Tyler Lockett screen pass with 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
I knew he was going to say it. I knew it.
Well, that's a really great transition into our next deep dive on the fantasy effort here. Randall, how are you feeling during the Seattle game? I mean,
I had a
you
lot
saw
of highs.
You saw the game go into OT, and you had to be.
So it was rough because the entire afternoon I was trailing and Dylan was the absolute favorite. And I'll be honest with you guys, I nod off to sleep watching the Seattle game, and I wake up with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I'm winning. And then the unfortunate thing happens. The Seahawks get the ball back. There's, 6 or 7 seconds left. And the most unfortunate thing happens. Dylan was thinking that Russell Wilson who is my quarterback, was going to throw a Hail Mary and hopefully get it intercepted. He did not expect, with 7 seconds left, for us to throw a screen pass to pad his stats to get 70 more yards, for Tyler Lockett in our PPR league to get another reception and like 6 or 7 more points, and for him to seal the victory. And when it went into overtime, I was so sick. I knew it wouldn't matter. I was so angry. I wanted
Russell
to.
Wilson did absolutely nothing in overtime. So
This might be the most narrow victory and loss that we'll have this year. I mean,
what
it's
is that?
tough.
0.36 points?
Yeah. Are you
0.36?
Are you 0-2, Randall, because of this?
I am 1-1.
1-1. Okay. Well, it's not total calamity. So you talked about Russell Wilson. Who else did you have here that you liked?
I went with Zeke again. Again, he was my 6th overall pick. And I'm not disappointed with him. And I want, this might be in a later segment for you, Luke, but I am not selling stock on Zeke yet because of this. The Dallas Cowboys are paying Zeke $90 million. They are going to give him the ball. They are not going to feed Tony Pollard. they are going to feed their $90 million running back. So Tony Pollard had a great game, and he deserves to be a starting running back. But if I know old Jerry, he's going to get every ounce of return on his investment, and he's going to give Zeke the ball the rest of the year and maybe trade one of them at the end.
He's a businessman. He's going to do it. He's going to make sure he gets his money where he ain't spending.
He got to get the jersey sales. Eckler did really, really well. He had a good second half for me. My biggest disappointment was definitely Amari Cooper. He had 38 points week 1 and a very measly 5.4. I made the mistake. I benched the wrong starter. My original starters were Julio and Amari, and I definitely should have stayed with Julio. But other than that, and I'm looking through my scores, all of my players were in the double digits except for Amari. And my super score is definitely higher than Dylan's, but unfortunately it only matters who you start. So Dylan got the edge. He had 2 fantastic receivers. And with that being Tyler Lockett and Cooper Kupp, they both had 30 plus points, I believe. And whenever you have 2 or 3 players in the 20s and 30s, it's hard to win.
It's very interesting this week because your fantasy teams took on each other, and I guess your favorite teams took on each other. So while you got the L in fantasy, talk about the Cowboys a little bit. They take home the win.
Now, the Cowboys. Now I'm going to say this. The Cowboys are exactly who we thought. They're exactly who we thought they were. There's holes on the defense. They do look more athletic on defense. They have a lot of injuries on their defensive line now. Micah Parsons got moved up to defensive end for a couple weeks, I think, until DeMarcus Lawrence's foot heals. And again, those linebackers that Jerry paid a lot of money to, they're now getting their playing time. And I mean, the Cowboys, I'm glad that they put the game together and they won the game. But the more I watch the Eagles, the more the Eagles impress me. And I can't say that the Cowboys are the favorites in the East now. I do believe the tide has turned. Tide, pun intended, with Jalen Hurts being a member of the Crimson Tide. I do think the Eagles are now the favorites in the NFC East. I think the Cowboys are a 9-7, or excuse me, a 9-8, 10-7 team. But I think the Eagles could get all the way up there to about 11 wins.
Right.
So
they've played 2 teams, 2 really good teams close. So it's really hard to kind of project what they're going to do against bad teams. Do they show up? Do they not? Obviously they're a middle pack team. That's a tough division though, as far as like projecting who's going to come out on top. Cause you got 3 pretty closely matched teams all sitting there three close teams sitting there at 1-1. So probably it's interesting you say that with the Eagles losing this week's game and Washington winning. But we'll have to just see. Obviously, the Giants are probably not the player that you're looking forward to. And Mac, if you're still here, I think it's your time, bud.
All right.
You want to talk Titans, and you want to talk about the fantasy team? I'll pull up your team here.
Okay. So starting off with the Titans, I don't know. I thought it'd be better this year, but it's not. 4 offensive linemen out right now.
They just got a big win. You're gonna put them down first sentence.
Okay. So they got a big. They did. They got a big win. But I mean, still, even this week, AJ Brown now is questionable for this next week. They said, I mean, he's, they said he should be able to go, but he hasn't had too good of a year so far. And I think I'm hoping that maybe Julio and Ryan Tannehill kind of, I think like when I was watching I didn't get to watch the game the other week, last week, but I did watch some of the highlights. And towards the end, in the second half, they started like kind of bonding. They had to, I think they've got to kind of play together in order for that duo to be there. But I think A.J. Brown, I don't know. I don't know if it's because Julio Jones is there now, and so Tannehill's trying to target Julio more than A.J. Brown. But A.J. Brown, he's not really catching anything when they do throw it to him. So, and then Tyler Lewan has been, this is now 2 weeks that week 1 he played, and week 1 Derrick Henry had 58 rushing yards, and that's the Titans offense right there. So through Derrick Henry. So, of course, last week in the second half he started going. And then that's when they come back and took it into overtime and won. But other than that, I mean, as far as the Titans go, I think they just got some silly mistakes to clean up. And, I mean, once they get that done and they all start meshing and bonding together, then I think they'll be all right this year.
I think, in my opinion, the Titans, other than, cleaning up on the secondary of their defense, which Seattle kind of exposed, that's kind of been the issue for it seems like the last few years.
Yeah.
And then another one of their big limitations right now, you look at the offensive side of the ball and you see all the weapons they have. And then you look at Ryan Tannehill. I think that's probably the biggest chokehold on their offense. Can he get the ball to their star players right now?
Bold statement against Ryan Tannehill.
It is. It is.
Haters going to hate.
He's probably, he's a very standard quarterback. He's kind of like, I see him as Kirk Cousins. Like that's who he is to me. If he has the tools and the situations to succeed, he will, but don't count on him to Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, into a football game, or, it's not going to, if you put all the expectations on him, you're going to be sore at the end of the game. Talk about the fantasy team here.
All right. So, fantasy last week, it was, I had a pretty good week after the first week of getting beat by Dylan. There towards the, I wasn't able to catch up to him there at the end, but last week I did have a pretty good week. I was hoping for more out of Josh Allen last week, but I'll take the 16 points that he got me. I think my biggest weakness right now, and it really wasn't a weakness. Well, first off, A.J. Brown. I drafted him. Not sure what I drafted him early on, but he hasn't really produced anything of what he's supposed to, what he needs to. And then running back position. Last week they had a pretty good week, but I don't know. I don't know if I can count on Najee Harris to carry me throughout the year, but we'll see. Other than that, Travis Kelce had a pretty good week. Brandon Cooks had a good week. And then I had 2 guys on my bench that I will probably end up starting one of those this week, Cortland Sutton or Mike Williams. But I'm not for sure yet. So
I'm a pretty proud Mike Williams fantasy owner in a lot of other leagues. Having said that, he hasn't started a single week for me yet on any of them. Because I think he's put up 20 plus points 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
Dylan might be able to tell you more about his production in the Chargers offense. But having said that, you do get the win over Austin this week. So congrats to you. Does that make you, I think that makes you 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1. Yep.
Okay. Nice. I'm going to talk for a second about my team and talk for a second about the Steelers as much as I can. I did not know how the Raiders game was going to go especially after seeing them ball out in week 1. But I'm not going to hold too many expectations for this team this year with the offense looking the way it is. Heinz Field is generally a pretty tough place to play for any team, and the Raiders are definitely a team that we can beat. Like I said, when I was talking about the games individually, we did have a lot of defensive players out due to groin injuries. I don't know what's going on there. Somebody needs to get a groin trainer down there and just rub all those guys out. I don't know. But Devin Bush out again. Joe Hayden, who is our shutdown corner. We got beat over the top to seal the game. Really, the defense didn't play all that bad. What am I trying to say? Even with the end score being what it was, the defense didn't play all that bad. We just kind of got beat over the top, and it was a field goal party for their kicker. But you can't expect the defense to hold out when the offense never has the ball. I don't think that our weapons are the issue. I think the limitations are on Big Ben this year. I think he hasn't been great the first two games of the season. I mean, the Bills defense is a tough one to get past, but the Raiders defense really doesn't have that same kind of clout. So I expected more out of him last game, and I didn't get it. So until I start seeing the offense pick up, I'm going to hold my expectations very low for this team. As far as the fantasy week goes, I do get a win over Zach this week. Started Tannehill over Derek Carr because I didn't want to see him carve up the Steelers, and then also, I just didn't have the heart to put him in my starting lineup this week. Just kind of got some solid production, no big banger games out of anybody like Tyler Lockett or somebody might have gotten, but I do like my running back core a lot this year. I think that they'll put up solid numbers throughout the year, and really, I'm not too upset with anybody's production other than Kamara and Kittle. You'd expect more out of those two guys week to week. But I'll take wins when I can get them. I'll be 1-1, and we'll go from there. Let's take a look at the standings right now. We'll see who's on top. We'll celebrate the winners, and we'll damn the defeated. Let's see. So the season stats, we have 1-2-0 team in the league. Congrats to you, Dylan. Your team is pretty solid. I think we all noticed that when the draft came out. But wait a minute. I'm sorry, Tanner. The disrespect. You're also 2-0. I didn't see the away games there. So congrats to you as well. Two people that are looking for the first fantasy win. McKinley, did you win last year? I think you won last year. There's a big mystery who won last year.
Yeah, I think Mac won.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see how the week shakes up. The point averages here. Dylan's putting up a bunch. Tanner might have gotten lucky on a couple of games, but seeing as he scored,
matter. Hey, you win by half a point. It don't matter. It's still a win.
It doesn't.
Don't talk to me, Tanner.
Randall, you're sitting at 1-1 right now. McKinley, same thing. Jordan is looking at 1-1 as well. Country Roads, take Mahomes. Is that Andrew?
Yeah, it's Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew 1-1 as well. I'm sitting at 1-1. Do we only have one 0-2 team in the league?
We have two, I believe. Will, Zach.
Oh, I see. Zach. Okay. This is kind of hard to read. I'm sorry. But Austin and Will, step up your game. I think I kind of slurped Will for one of the games because I don't think our teams didn't score all that high, but it's nice when you get to play somebody else had a bad week. Let me take a look here. The last time I was able to pull up here we go. I think this is the projected, or did I miss it?
That was the playoff bracket.
The playoff bracket. Okay.
I think you just clicked on the wrong thing there.
Yeah. So let me go back here.
I'm over here leading the league in points with 294.
I said it last time too. You did not have a good year last year.
No, I had a terrible year last year. I fell victim to the auto draft, and
you want to talk about that? What were you doing?
Oh, I'll be honest. I had never drafted a fantasy team before. Most of the leagues that I'd been in, they were auto draft leagues, and I always built my team through free agency because a lot of the people I played with, I guess, were lackadaisical in their efforts to pick up free agents, and unfortunately. The case with you guys are very vigilant and pick up the teams off of the waivers that I had benefited with other people not.
No easy wins this year, man. I mean, we all know what's at stake to the biggest loser.
Or what's the
and unfortunately, we didn't think Austin would really be in line to lose. I know he probably won't participate if he does, come out dead last. But
you should remind everyone the prize for the loser.
If you're aware of the Pat McAfee beer combine, then we haven't really ironed out the details. But essentially, if you place dead last in our league, then you have to do an NFL combine with drinking mixed in. And it should go something along the lines of you take 2 shots beforehand, maybe 3, and then you kick 2 field goals, I think, drink a beer of your choice. You do a 40-yard dash, drink a beer. You do 2 punts, drink a beer. You have to catch a touchdown off of a slant route, drink a beer. 3 throws as far as you can, drink a beer. Can't think I'm forgetting anything other than the run all the way around the field, drink a beer. So
don't forget, it's not just drinking; it's chugging beer.
I mean, you're not sitting there leisurely. I mean, either way, doing all that activity with all those beer calories in you can't be fun. Yep. Oh,
Ooh.
that early call out the place depth. So you just threw a lot of shade at a 2-0 team right there. That might be a bad omen.
I also said, if I lose, it could happen because for example, like Randy, he's been scoring more points. I may be 2-0, but he scored more points to me overall. And if I'm playing against Randall, one week, that's going to be a loss.
You probably like your odds to not come dead last in the league, though.
Tanner's not even giving himself a chance. I was kidding.
Hey, Tanner always sets the bar low. That way he can overachieve, baby.
Always succeed.
Let's take a look at the final standing projections. It still has McKinley at 1, even though there's 2-2-0 teams. I don't necessarily understand this ESPN, but I'm going to report it either way. Sitting at number 2, it looks like Nuts and Bolts moved up from 3 to 2 this week. At number 3 is Unsolicited Dak Picks. How is he hanging around in the top 3?
0-2, man.
He is 0-2.
Who
He's
is that?
predicted to beat me this week.
That's
too.
Austin. Yes, that's Austin.
That is Austin. Yeah, you're right.
That's the only reason he's got McCaffrey.
I guess.
Right. Sitting at number 4 is Russell and Flo. Randall Parmley moves up 4 spots. He's probably the biggest. He is the biggest jump of the week.
I was up to 3 until the very end of the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when you lost.
Right.
Thank you for bringing that back up. Number 5, moving down a spot from 4 to 5 is Jordan, Derrick Henry's ponytail. I moved from 5 to 7 after a win. Whatever. Sliding into the number 6 spot from the 9 hole is the real Slim Brady. 2-0 being in 6th. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is.
Now, I will say, in my defense, I probably don't have my team is not necessarily. I would probably say my biggest superstar player is Kyler Murray,
right?
And then the rest of my team's average. So I think they take the like the projected points into account and like the averages, and so I think that's the reason why. But I mean, again, that's projections. Like that doesn't mean it's going to happen. I was projected to lose 1 league last year, but I ended up making to the championship game and lost by 2 points.
Don't you use this platform to flex your other leagues?
I think right. I think we have to understand that the playoffs happen at the end of the year.
Right.
Some of our really, really high-powered scores that are perpetuating us to wins right now, they don't play at the end of the season. They rest,
right.
Which maybe that goes into some of those projection talks.
I agree with that. And like I said, it just depends, how crazy the NFL is this year, do players, do we get like a 14-3 team and, they can sit players out the last 4 games, or is it going to be kind of a consistent year where you see kind of crazy games like the first week with the Saints and the Packers, like just see stuff like that, stuff you never thought you'd ever see.
Either way, I mean, you got to make it into the playoffs to be able to, to see your team win. So we'll see as the year goes on, whether or not the projected starts matching up with the actual results, because, still week 2, it's kind of hard to get a grasp based off of 2 games. I think I'm in the 7th spot. Going down 1 spot as Country Road takes Mahomes. I think that's I can't ever remember Andrew's team, but that's it. He's an 8. Moving up 1 is the Washington Wife Beaters, Jake. 1-1 start. It really isn't bad for Jake. I don't know where he's at. I thought he could join us. Maybe not.
He plays me this week.
I see. Okay. And then we got in dead last, Will Philher, Zach. Poor guy. Not much else to say.
You knew it was going to go bad because he took Saquon Barkley in round 1 because of auto draft.
Oh.
It's just you can't recover from that from there.
Certified fantasy bum. What can you say? You know.
Yeah.
Let's move right in. Let's move along to the player performances. We're going to take a look at who did the best this week, and I'll just kind of run through, and then we're going to talk about who are. I'm going to give the segment a name. It's called Dreamers versus Steamers. You're going to tell me who you liked a lot this week. Generally, guys, it's probably good to have one or two since we got so many people in here. Yours is going to get taken, and then who did bad this week compared to expectations. So let's take a look. Scoring leaders. Let me move it to week 3 or week 2 here. It already has Pat ahead of week 3. NFL knows something I don't. Scripted league. I'm not ready to say that. No surprises here, unless you're looking in the 4 spot. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady all had fantastic games. What is Danny Dimes doing up here? Get out of here. How did he have more fantasy points than Aaron Rodgers?
I'm picking him up on waiver wire.
He's got some good receivers around him. That team is just not built for success. Kirk Cousins played well. 2 free agents in the top 7 there, it looks like, is interesting. Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes, that might be as low as you see him all year. Let's move over to running backs. Best performing running backs this week. Derrick Henry went off. Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey is always going to be up there. There's Cordarrelle Patterson, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, J.D. McKissick being a big part of that Washington offense this week. Let's take a look at the wide receivers. Cooper Kupp went off again. Tyler Lockett having a huge game. 2 of Dylan's receivers. Wow, that's incredible. You can start Zach Wilson at quarterback and still win every week with those 2 guys playing like that. Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton having a big game after week 1. Mike Evans comes back around to expectations. Rondale Moore is interesting. Marquise Brown is interesting. Yes, sir. And then Brandon Cooks getting it done in 2 weeks back to back, even with the team he's on. So go look at tight ends. Travis Kelce, no surprise. TJ Hawkinson's having a fantastic year. Rob scored 2 touchdowns. Max Williams, I have no clue who that is, but he's on the Arizona Cardinals, and he has a porn star name. The guy probably gets it done. Robert Tonyan caught a touchdown.
He's not bad on Madden. Pretty good.
All right. Robert Tonyan caught a touchdown. Jack Doyle played really well. Noah Fant looking good as well. Kyle Pitts, kind of tight ends you expect to see up there.
I know has all the tight ends.
Right.
Yeah. We were talking about that team with 3 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 tight ends.
That's right. Team there.
Yeah.
And they're all like top 10 tight ends. They're all
Tight end was a very high pick in the draft this year. It seemed like you had to secure somebody in the top spot. Which kind of leads me into the next segment, which is Dreamers versus Steamers. I'm going to start because I have that luxury. I don't want anybody to steal mine. And I'm going to go with somebody I just mentioned, which is Jack Doyle. Shout out to the WKU guy getting it done.
Right.
You don't see a whole lot of these guys in the NFL. In fact, I only know of 2, and the other one's another tight end who didn't get it done this week. But Jack Doyle looks like a big part of this Indiana offense. He's got a good chemistry with Carson Wentz. I think even one of the plays that he had a interception on was supposed to be like a shovel pass to Jack Doyle, which is interesting that you trust your tight end to kind of get yardage right there off the line of scrimmage. But this might be a pickup. I mean, he's still a free agent. I know tight end is a very hot spot this year, but he outscored Kyle Pitts, who a lot of people was drafting like, 2nd, 3rd round. This guy's still sitting in free agency. So I wanted to give a shout out to a guy that's kind of been a very solid tight end in the league for the last 3 or 4 years, at least. Shout out to Jack DeWill. Shout out to WKU. Go
Please tell me
Tops.
we're laughing at Tanner Wilson right now.
Right.
I am
Taking a
Tanner
pic of
Wilson.
the old camera.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to look at some stuff.
Okay. Dylan, we'll go to you since you're next on the screen here.
My impressive performance of the week is Henry Ruggs from the Raiders. Everybody, he was one of those first receivers taken in the draft last year or the previous year, and everybody was kind of thought that there was better receivers to take ahead of him. He was always super fast. He was only projected like 11, but 113 receiving yards, touchdown, 22 fantasy points. He had a bomb from Derek Carr that kind of helped put that game away against the Steelers. Just all around good week for him.
If he can be a consistent threat for them with Darren Waller being an underneath threat, that Raiders team might keep winning games that people don't think that they probably
consistency is the problem with him so far,
Sure.
which he's still young, so he's still got time.
Absolutely. Randall, who's your dreamer this week?
Well, I went on this rant last week to you guys about me going to the year 3000 and it was going to be Christian McCaffrey. I think the time travel really messed up my memory because I was right about the person, but I was wrong about the name. I meant to say Aaron Jones for the Packers, and it came out Christian McCaffrey, and I don't know what was wrong with me. So Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones lit it up. I think I don't remember who said this earlier. It could have been Dylan. It could have been Luke. I do think that it could have been any number of Packers receivers. I think Aaron Rodgers was trying to make Aaron Jones happy. Maybe I'm not really sure. Maybe he has beef with a couple of the others and he didn't want to throw it to him. But Aaron Jones, I believe, had 3 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And I'm confirmed by the stats that are on the screen. He lit it up, 41.5 fantasy points. I mean, he looked like a feature back and he played like one. So I am very, very happy with what he did. And I believe Packer Nation is as well.
I think a lot of people were scared after week 1 because he was one of the top backs taken. And then, law of averages kind of helps this guy out. But I think I was watching the Monday night was this the Sunday night game? This was the Monday night game. Yeah, this was the Monday night game with the Manning brothers. And they were talking about the openings that the Detroit Lions were giving them. And a lot of it was like daring Aaron Rodgers to give the ball to Aaron Jones. And it looks like he doesn't have any problem doing it. And Aaron Jones is happy as hell about it too. Tanner, who is your dreamer of the week?
My dreamer, give it to the king, Derrick Henry.
You stole mine.
Come up with another one.
That's why you have to have 2 or 3, McKinley.
Do what?
Why you have to have 2 or 3 players in mind.
Right.
But
he's probably got more Titans players in
Henry
mind.
Just went off this week. This is the Derrick Henry we are used to seeing. I know everybody kind of got scared after the first week, but again, it takes time. They got a new wide receiver in. So, all these defenses are trying to adjust. Well, you got Derrick Henry, you got one.
Look at that boom chance.
And then, you got these 2 all-star wide receivers. You got A.J. Brown, a great Pro Bowler, Julio Jones, probably one of the best wide receivers right now in our NFL, especially a red zone threat. So everybody was just trying to figure out. So they were definitely stacking. Well, now they finally figured out and they just realized, if the passes ain't open, just give it to Derrick Henry. You know what? Just throw the ball to him if you got to. He can catch it. He'll stiff arm you. He'll stiff arm your grandma. He don't give a frick. He'll do whatever he's got to.
I think one of the knocks on Derrick Henry, early in his career in the NFL, other than not stiff arming your grandma, was the fact that he wasn't really a big part of the passing game. And it looks like he's incorporated more kind of as the years have gone on. He added, he had 6 receptions for 55 yards, which is huge. Right. Mm-hmm, absolutely. So I think the more that, they see him open, like as the underneath throw in the middle of the field, I think that's just going to open passing lanes up for A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, which is, 2 names that are, very highly respected in the NFL. McKinley, you got one, or you still need a second? We can move on.
Give me a second.
Okay. Randall, you always got something to say, big dog.
Hey, I always have something to say. I wanted to add something to King Henry there.
Go ahead.
He only had a 6% boom chance, and he didn't just boom. He sat on 2 barrels of TNT and freaking exploded, man. 47 points on 35 carries. Now, I know he's a feature back. I know he's the heart of the Tennessee Titans, but 35 carries is a lot for an NFL running back. So I'm very happy with what he did. I'm very glad that I played Derrick Henry's ponytail week 1 whenever he busted.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh!
So this week,
Jake.
this week I'm up against the Washington wife beaters, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And I believe Antonio Brown might be out.
You're gonna get beat like their wives.
So he's going to be home for a couple of days. He's going to. Antonio Brown. Well, Antonio Brown's going to make a comeback. He's going to go home. He's going to beat up on a girlfriend who has some pent up aggression. He's going to come out and ball. But hopefully this week.
I think it's time to move to Jake. Since we just got him, Jake. I think any time that you join is when we start our Browns segment of the week. We'll give you a second to talk about the Cleveland Browns, who it looks like you're wearing from head to toe, and talk about the fantasy this week. Go ahead, big dog.
I couldn't tell you how the game went because Hulu didn't stream it. I had to watch highlights, but they had a rough start. Nick Chubb didn't get many carries there at first. Kareem got a few, but they're at the beginning. They didn't look too hot, but they just kept going. Came back, no problem. It's just the Texans. Like I said earlier to y'all, there's three guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the Browns are going to win, baby, every time. All right, this. It may be a little different this week. Jarvis Landry. He's hurt. He was OBJ's backup. Don't know if OBJ is going to be there this week. No one really knows. He's just kind of leaving it as maybe. Could he help when your backup is hurt? Yeah, he could help. But will he? I don't know. Baker can do so much. Keep giving it Nick Chubb. Go Dogs, and you'll win the game.
But for the Browns too, and I'm saying this out of respect for the Browns because I know we have 3 people in here that are different fans in the AFC North. But you put Kareem Hunt out there too. Just split him wide out too if they need somebody because Kareem Hunt,
Kareem's a banger
that can catch the ball and get out in the wide open space. So if they need
Sorry.
No, I'll just say if they need to do anything, that's all they got to do. Put Kareem Hunt out wide.
I will say, if you have Austin Hooper this week, he may come out big for you.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and call it now.
Hey,
that's interesting.
Who picked up David?
That's
Njoku?
interesting because it's on the screen. He's got David Njoku playing week 2. He didn't have a big week, so that's interesting that you say that. Are you switching faithfuls on the old tight end core for the Browns here?
I don't know, man. He got a lot of catches last week, and
why don't you talk about the fantasy team? What happened week 2?
He kind of shit the bed. Plain and simple. Let's see, Joe Mixon and I can't remember his name. It's on the screen. Is this me on the screen?
Yeah. It should be on the screen. Yeah, David Montgomery. Yeah,
I was looking at us.
Yeah.
So Mixon and Montgomery, they played each other. I think each got 60 yards apiece, maybe 6-7 carries. Not big games for them. Both of them went from 20 points to 6 and 7. Tyreek Hill, I don't know what happened to him, man. I think he got me a 5. It wasn't a good week for him.
Right.
He got doubled a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say Terry
McLaurin, yeah.
Yeah, he had a heck of a game. 27.7, I believe.
Yeah.
Last week, heck of a game. Everybody's talking crap on oh, Washington's in the Monday Night Football. This can be some primetime football. Hey, he showed up. He did his job. Score points.
Actually, a really good game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The last game was.
Tom Brady, of course. You know, he pisses excellence and shit's gold. Like,
Can't
I
say
don't know
much
what
more than
else
that.
you expect him to do. Win games, throw the football. That's what he does. Been doing it for a long time. But yeah, it just wasn't a good week for us, man. Rough week.
It was a down week. You expect more out of Tyreek Hill. I think part of the Ravens' success from that game was shutting him down. Because you kind of
they did very well.
You got to look at either Tyreek or Travis Kelce and be like, we got to stop one of these guys. They were able to contain Travis Kelce a little. He still broke out a bunch, but they pretty much shut down Tyreek Hill all night, no matter how much they try to get him involved in the offense. But you still have a decent team. I don't think you need to look to to panic too much. But having Gallup and Samuel on your IR does hurt you because you're kind of probably, despite having Tyreek, you're weakest in the wide receiver core, I think.
Oh yeah.
But not a. I wouldn't have too big of an overreaction there. Do you have a player?
Also doesn't. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask, do you have a player? We just did our Dreamers versus Steamers segment. We're in the first half of it, at least. Do you have a player that overperformed expectations or that you thought played really well?
McLaurin.
Yeah. It's a good shout.
I'll be honest. I don't know. I didn't know who he was. I picked him up.
Yeah.
Heck of a game.
He's the feature wide receiver on that Washington offense. Probably one of the only things that they have going for him. And they're going to get him the ball a lot. He's going to see a lot of targets after Antonio Gibson, the running back. Mac, do you have an offensive or a player yet?
Yeah, I don't know really what his fantasy points, what he scored in fantasy, but Matt Stafford, man, we talked about him earlier. And I think I watched the game the other night with the Rams, and I don't know who they played. It was Sunday. Who did the Rams play?
Colts.
Yeah, they played the Colts.
The Colts, okay. But and even in week 1 too. So I mean, Matt Stafford, and 33 years old, and his whole career. I mean, he spent it in Detroit, and really wasn't ever surrounded. I mean, he had Calvin Johnson, but I mean, that was really all he ever had in Detroit. So I'm going to say that he's my pick. Yep.
I think, like I said, I think he's one of the very highly regarded players in the NFL, despite having such little success. I think there's not a lot of people. We talked about this last week. There's not a whole lot of people that doesn't like Matthew Stafford and doesn't like seeing him do well. Finally being under a stable system and a good coach and Sean McVay. He didn't have probably the game that he's expected to have, being Matt Stafford, but he still was able to get the job done. I mean, the Rams do look like a very scary team in a very tough division this year. But we'll see as the year goes on what they're able to do behind him. Let's move on to the Steamers. I'm going to start it off with a player that I was kind of hoping was going to have a big year, especially in some of my other leagues. I don't think I have him in this one. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he is not finding the holes that the wide receiver core is going to open for him most games. It's still, as I say this, it is very tough to get the running back in this kind of offense the ball, but I don't even think he looked like the best running back out there for the Chiefs in last night's game, especially with the fumble that he had late in the game. It seems like he's still making some rookie mistakes, not hitting holes that he's supposed to, and he's been in the league for, I think, a couple of years now. This might be just his second year, so could be a little hard on him, but you don't want to be the dark spot in a very bright Chiefs offense, and that's what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is looking like to start the year this year. Dylan, who is your steamer of the week?
I wrote down I'm trying to choose between the couple that I picked out. I think I'm going to say Tyler Higbee, though. I mean, it with a high scoring offense like the Rams are predicted to be, and how well Cooper Kupp did. Tyler Higbee had 1 catch for 8 yards, I think,
And
and there was a lot of people that this is the dark side of the WKU alum this week. But he, a lot of people were hoping for him to have a breakout year because he's shown the potential. When he was given the opportunity, he was always doing super well. I forgot who was there, who started over him.
It was Gerald Everett. Yeah,
Gerald
that's what I was
Everett.
gonna say. Yeah,
And he's finally alone there now, so I assume probably as the year goes on, he'll get more involved. But this was just not his game.
Yeah, he didn't have too much of a lackluster game in week 1, so you kind of, I feel like a lot of people did own this guy in fantasy this year, but maybe they should have looked toward another WKU tight end after this kind of showing in week 1. It's interesting too, because I don't think Matt Stafford has ever been too much outside of TJ Hawkinson and his maybe his last year there. Too much of a tight end, dump it down guy. He likes to sling it, to his wide receivers. So, it's kind of tough to expect after these 2 performances week after week what Tyler Higbee's going to be in that offense. But tough showing in week 2. Randall, who is your steamer?
My steamer is going to be my receiver, Amari Cooper. But I was just going to add to your point about Stafford being used to this bootleg, this play action, this waggle type of an offense. Again, like you said, he's not used to throwing those to the tight ends, unless it's third down and we're moving the sticks. But in this bootleg type of an offense, there's a lot of crossing routes, a lot of stuff's going to those tight ends. So I do. He was a steamer, but I do believe he will get back on the right track, and I do believe Tyler Higbee will be a 10-point-a-week scorer. Okay. Talking about Amari Cooper, I was just really, really disappointed. 3 receptions, 24 yards. That's not getting it done on 5 targets. But I will also say this about him. There was a game, maybe it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago now. I believe it was 2 years ago because I believe Jason Garrett was still the coach. And there was a point in time where they were going on a 2-minute to win the game or right at halftime drive, and Amari Cooper wasn't even on the field. So I feel like he has a game or 2 a season where he just completely disappears. And unfortunately, he was in my starting lineup against Dylan, and I lost by 36 points. And this just happened to be the game that he lost.
Right.
So it does make me sad. Does make me disappointed. Again, he's not someone, as long as he stays healthy, I believe he's questionable this week. He's someone who's going to rebound. You're not going to hold him down with that Dallas passing offense. Kellen Moore is on a short list for the next head coaches, rumor mill says. But as long as Kellen Moore's there, they're going to be slinging it. They're going to be doing what the defense gives them. And they're going to be feeding it to Zeke, not Tony Pollard, because they pay Zeke $90 million. They're going to give him the football. And they pay Amari, so they're going to get Amari the football also.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
big
think
move this week against Philadelphia. Look for them to bounce back.
Sure. I think one of the things that I considered, or one of the players that I considered for my dreamer this week, was Tony Pollard. Actually, it's tough it's tough with that running back core for to look like you're the star back. And honestly, that game, it looked like Tony Pollard was a better back. I don't think he is still. I would like to hold out hope that Zeke is kind of more of your every down back, but I think the same way about Amari Cooper. He's got a little bit of Mike Evans syndrome in him. Well, he'll just disappear for a game, and you won't know why or how. But I do think that Amari, especially after his showing in week 1, that he is the number 1 option for Dak throwing the football. I don't think there's anybody that doubts that. And I think that, third down going forward, Amari Cooper will be will be the guy that Dak is looking to throw to. I do think that Dallas was having more success than normal running the football, which maybe, eliminated Amari a little bit from the passing game. Kind of hurt your fantasy team this week in week 2. Tanner, who is your steamer?
It was going to be between two people, but I think the one I'm going to pick, and I guess probably just because he's on my team, is Jonnu Smith. And I don't think he's going to be a steamer for, the whole entire year, but I think this week just wasn't a good week. And I guess the reason why I'm saying that is I guess you just have to have high expectations for him. This guy left Tennessee, left the Titans, a very solid team, joined the Pats, which, a dynasty, all this, Bill Belichick, and he's got Mac Jones. And he signed a $50 million contract with like $30 million or something like that guaranteed, and that makes him one of the highest paid tight ends in the NFL. So you're expecting a lot out of this guy because he produced a lot in Tennessee, especially in Las Vegas. He definitely produced, but I think with Mac Jones just now still being the QB, because you have to think during, summer camp, OTAs and stuff, there was the whole Cam Newton versus Mac Jones battle, seeing, what's going to happen. And I think right now with the Patriots, they're just so heavy on the running backs. They got James White, they got Damian Harris. And stuff, like they're just such a hard nose at running back, and especially in the defensive aspect. They're always one of the top teams at the end of fantasy with points wise is the Patriots defense and special teams. So Bill Belichick's really hard on that, which that's what he coached when he was at the Browns, where he became an NFL coach. So he knows what he's doing. Yeah. But the thing with Jonnu Smith is, like I said, I think this week, he was a steamer. I'm just expecting more out of him. Had signed that huge contract. But I just wait. I think, I'm not a Patriot fan, but if you just kind of have some patience, maybe Jonnu will start producing some more and stuff. Mac Jones will start getting comfortable with him. And then you also have to consider the fact they got Hunter Henry, too, who was also at the Chargers as well, who produced a lot for him after Antonio Gates was gone. So there's definitely that little bit of leeway there.
Sure. I think I'm going to actually I'm going to disagree. I think the trend is very down on Jonnu Smith. And here's the reason why I think so is because you're looking at 2 games where the Patriots have played Miami and the Jets, and he hasn't put up a 10-point fantasy week yet. It's still young in that offense. So, I don't think he's write-off material, but normally for a young quarterback in the league, your tight end is gold because it's a big target in the end zone, and he still hasn't even found the end zone yet this year. But he is a great player. He got a lot done when he was with Tennessee. So I don't think it's any, lack of respect going towards him. But that production is kind of hard to predict when you have a young quarterback and it's a Bill Belichick offense who just, traditionally spreads the ball around more so than a lot of other offenses. Jake, do you have a disappointing player this week?
I mean, on my team or just in general?
In general, across the whole league, or it can be on your team. It doesn't matter.
I was about to say, I was going to say Tyreek. He just got shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, he
did. Good on the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. I think
3 receptions, 14 yards.
Yeah, pretty abysmal for how early that people take Tyreek in the league. I've taken him very high in some of my other leagues. I think he's a late first rounder, depending on how many people you have. But it did seem like that was Baltimore's whole key to success was shutting down Tyreek Hill and not losing to big plays over the top, which is exactly what Tyreek Hill specializes in. Pat did try to get him involved in the offense. He had a couple, crossing route plays. He had a couple, carries, I think, too. He had 1 carry. But most of his plays were like just slants to out of bounds in very kind of meaningless moments. But after week 1, I don't think as the fantasy owner you need to panic. Law of averages kind of hurt him this week, but look for him to bounce back against the LAC there. McKinley, do you have a steamer?
Yeah, James Robinson from Jacksonville.
Oh, good shout.
So I know I had him last year. Actually, I traded Jake for him late in the year, and people complained. But I mean, this year
Took advantage of me.
Yeah, I didn't take advantage of it. You said, "Who do you want?" I was like,
Hey, I had been drinking at that point in time.
Anyway, but I mean, he hasn't really produced much this year. Now I know he's on an offense that I mean, they have a new quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, rookie quarterback. So that might be, that they're still trying to get used to each other. And then you got him and Carlos Hyde sharing carries. But I don't know. I mean, I just expected more of him this year. Like I said, I don't have him. I'm not even. I think okay.
I think that's.
Gordon has him.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. Honestly, I really do. I did not take James Robinson in any of my leagues this year just because of where I was drafting, but I did want him. I mean, the guy was an absolute stud even when he played for a guy named Gardner Minshew. Shout out Gardner Minshew. But he's got a lot of juice. He's an every down back. They're just not getting the production out of him. I think Jacksonville is kind of testing Trevor Lawrence a little bit. So I think they want to see him air the ball out. That can really be the only thing that I attribute to his lack of success this year, especially when you look at the opponents that they played. Denver does have a nice defense, so you maybe don't fault him for last week, but you should be able to get more done against Houston in week 1. And so far he hasn't really lived up to that kind of, late round 2 draft position that a lot of people took him in. So good shouts, guys. Everybody was pretty accurate. I appreciate you having somebody to call out. Let's take a look really quick on the injury reports, see who we're going to miss for week 3. And then we'll just kind of open it up at the end to see next week's games and matchups and stuff like that, and see what y'all think. See who y'all expect to do better for you. Let's go to injury news really quick. So Antonio Brown out, got placed on the COVID list. Knowing what's inside Antonio's mind is just about as impossible as anything.
I think that's the first of many that's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say that's gonna start happening.
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it's tough to say, but it's similar personalities that this is happening to, especially like last year when you could just get vaccinated, not have to worry about it. But he's out on the COVID list. We'll see if he'll be back. That's interesting spin is that the Buccaneers were supposed to be 100% vaccination rate. I don't know if that applies to Antonio Brown. My guess is that it doesn't.
I mean, he could be vaccinated and still get it though.
That's true. That's very true. Curtis Samuel's out with a groin injury. I think that's a pretty big blow for Washington. I don't know when it says he'll be back. Groin injuries can kind of linger, and I know that because I've read quite a bit about all of the Steelers defensive players having the same weird groin injury. Danny Amendola out for the Texans with a thigh injury. That's going to hurt their weapons. Andy Dalton is out with a knee injury after going down during the game.
Comes Justin Fields, baby.
I don't know if a whole lot of Chicago fans are going to be too mad about that, even though he, technically won that game for him.
I mean, it's just a bone bruise, so he could.
I think Matt Nagy's already came out
depending on
and
how
said,
painful it is.
Yeah, I think Matt Nagy's already came out and said that if he is healthy, he's starting, which is, I don't know. In my opinion, it's Justin Fields' time down there. That franchise has been good without a good quarterback, or relatively good without a good quarterback for too long. In my opinion.
I mean, they're playing the Browns, so it don't really matter.
I'm not even gonna. Nwanu. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Nwanu. That sounds pretty close. I feel like
Nwanu, maybe. Kene Nwanu.
Nwanu. I like Nwanu. Was working on a knee injury, hyperextended his left knee during a preseason matchup. These are all just recent reports. James O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy?
Tua went
Could
down
we-
during the game last week, and you saw Jacoby Brissett come in. That offense was ugly with either one of them in. More Texans
Could a
players
player
hurt.
with a pronounceable name get hurt? Maybe.
How about Tyrod Taylor, placed on the injury reserve Tuesday for a hamstring? I
I
hate seeing
think
this guy.
that'll be a big hit for the Texans. He's
I
been
do
doing
too.
pretty good job.
Mhm. I don't even know who their backup is. Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
There you go.
Davis
Million.
Mills.
Who?
Davis
Exactly.
Poor guy. He has to come out and play for the Texans. Zach Ertz is out. Placed on the COVID-19 list after the game. Oh, look at that. Marcus Mariota is on the Raiders. I'm just now learning about this. Injured reserve.
played one play in week one.
He did. Week one. That's it. And
We
he had a
were
pretty good run.
we were very concerned.
Mhm. A lot of the injuries aren't on this list for whatever reason. I know that it's probably looking like Jarvis Landry is going to be out. Anybody else have any that they know about that are like significant?
He's going to be out for 3 weeks. They're expecting.
Right. I think Carson Wentz is another one. With those double ankle injury.
Double ankle sprain.
I mean, have you ever seen
Double.
something like that? Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
of them.
He's been giving it his
Hey.
all, though. You know he has.
The man doesn't care.
You got to shoot him to put him down, man.
Pretty much.
That's the only way you're gonna get him to stop.
The man simply doesn't care about his body. He only cares about football, which is respectable. But
Ironically, he hasn't played very
It
much
is his job. So.
yeah. But he hasn't in the years that he's been relevant. He hasn't played all that much. But
Probably because he keeps getting hurt.
Oh yeah,
That's exactly.
that was the reference there, Jake. I didn't.
what we were going for.
Feel free to spell it out. Just in case people couldn't hear it in my voice.
I'm still 2 years into the sport, man. I'm a little slow.
That's fair, and thank God you picked the Browns.
Hey, that's why it's the only thing that's guaranteed. He hasn't been around the Browns when they were terrible for 40
That's
years.
true. Yeah, what was it? Death, taxes, and the Browns winning football games
Yeah.
has not been true for very long.
See,
It's been famously
how many
untrue.
Seasons did they go without a win?
But hey, before Baker Mayfield, the last quarterback to start every game for the Browns, and this happened to Baker in like 2019 or 2020, something like that, was 2002. That was the last time one quarterback started the entire season for the Browns.
Did Colt McCoy not make it a whole year?
Tim Couch made it 16 games and then got hurt in the playoff game that year.
Okay.
Incredible. That's a good shout, Randall. Thank you for that stat. That's a long. I mean, we've all seen that picture with the Browns jersey, and it just has that list of names flowing down like a cape of all the different quarterbacks that they've had throughout the years. It's been a horrible, horrible franchise.
You're going to
But
need to learn how to insert that graphic.
I will say, I'm going to say right now on this show that my favorite offensive play calling, if we have an award, show at the end of the year, Kevin Stefanski's he's getting my shout. They do a beautiful mix of different run plays, and they have so many weapons that it's fun to watch. Like Browns games are really fun to watch, as much as I hate to say it, being a Steelers fan, where our games are not. But kudos to them. I can't really think of any other big injuries that happened this week, but there are. I think the show kind of pointed out there are some decent free agents out there to look at. So let's go to the league here and see.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off.
Sure.
So I will I'll catch y'all next week.
All right, man. Good luck in fantasy this week.
See ya. Yep. Good luck,
See ya.
y'all. Except Tanner. And win.
Go Cardinals.
Thank you, Jake. Free shirt, loyal fan for life. You don't even know if it fits.
No, it fits. I tried it on.
Okay, good deal. All right. Tanner, I got your shirt too.
Okay,
All right.
see you.
All right, see y'all.
All right. Where do I go to the
Go to
matchups? Players. Why am I going to players? Where's the matchups?
Go to league. Sorry, go to league.
Yeah, league home. That'll do it.
And then
It should just pop up from here, probably. Maybe.
That was the wrong thing to think.
Oh yeah, it absolutely was. It absolutely was.
What are schedule?
Yeah, we'll try schedule. I don't have all the tabs figured out just yet. Oh, this will kind of work, won't it?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. We'll just leave you guys on there. You can kind of see. Maybe if I get us out of the way, minimize here. But here are the fantasy matchups for the week. Jake Dillon's Washington Wife Beaters are taking on the high-powered Randall Parmley's Russell and Flo. Should be a good matchup. Jake's team kind of underperformed last week. Randall's did not underperform, coming out with the most points in the league. I'm going to take on Jordan Constant. I think two kind of evenly matched teams. We'll see what plays out there. Andrew,
avenge me, Luke.
Right. Andrew will take on Zach, who is still looking for his first win. I think Andrew's kind of middle table, so we'll see if Zach can get that pickup. Tanner is looking to face McKinley this week, see if he can go 3-0, and Austin is going to take on Dylan in the Nuts and Bolts, who are 2-0 against a 0-2 team. It's looking good for Dylan's team to start the year. Is there any games that you guys are looking forward to seeing? I can kind of pull up really quick. I don't want to spend too much.
I need to point out.
Do what?
Down bad news.
Team will probably win this week.
You got what news?
I would
bad news.
Down bad news. Uh-oh.
James Conner with 8 carries, 26 yards.
Oh no! James Conner touchdown. Oh man. You know,
the man is no longer a menace to society. He just doesn't have it in him anymore.
I think, and I knew that Chase Edmonds and James Conner was sharing time this year. I picked up Chase Edmonds in like 3 or 4 leagues because I knew James Conner was going to get hurt. I know he will. He's done it so many years in a row. It's just going to happen. Don't expect – I mean, bless the man, cancer survivor. Shout out to James Conner for surviving cancer and playing in the NFL. What an incredible feat.
Respect.
But you got to keep the body healthy if you're going to do it, and he hasn't been able to do it. That feels so backhanded after a compliment that I don't know how to feel right now, especially with cancer being the subject. Very sore. Sorry to say it. Shouldn't have brought it up. Some of you might not even know that he had it. But
let's talk about another.
Yeah, all five.
Let's
five views we had.
Let's
from the
talk
first
about
video.
another.
We lost them.
Let's talk about another survivor here. Let's jump all the way down to that Colts Titans game. Carson Wentz is a survivor, fellas.
I didn't know that. I had no clue.
No, I don't know if he is or not. I'm just saying he is going to resurrect his career. That's what I'm saying. He's going to survive in the NFL because I think he gets back on track this week. And I like what the Titans are doing. I love Vrabel. But something tells me the Colts are getting back on track.
That'll be a really fun game to watch. 2 division rivals there.
Is Carson even expected to be back next week?
That's what I was going to ask.
It's like he has 2 ankle sprains.
They're going to roll him out there.
Each ankle is sprained.
Throw it.
Couple things, Randall. 1, his ankles are not broken. They're sprained. 2, that poor Jacob Eason kid came in after Carson Wentz sat on the sideline and immediately threw an interception. Immediately.
First
throw. Boom.
I'm fully aware. If Carson plays, and I think he's going to grit through the pain, I mean,
if anybody's going to do it,
I have the Colts.
Anybody's going to do it.
I don't see
all his way out there.
I don't see the Colts going 0-3 to start this season.
That's
I really don't. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Does anybody have any? I'm just going to scroll through here. We got Panthers Texans on the Thursday night game tomorrow. I don't feel like the Thursday night games have been true bangers yet, other than the first
Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The debut Thursday night game, but last week's was
Who's the Tyrod Taylor's replacement on the Texans? Anybody know?
We just talked about
We
it.
mentioned it earlier.
Something
I
Mills.
don't forgot.
David Mills.
Yeah, there you go. Are you just? Was that another knock on him because you had to ask twice, like who he was? If
No,
so,
that was an honest question.
wow, that was genuine. It was still hilarious because you asked earlier who, and you needed to know. You didn't listen.
I listened. I just forgot. No one's ever heard of him. It's hard.
Right.
It's hard to remember.
I think I'm just trying to scroll through here.
Chargers Chiefs will be an exciting game, but I have a bad feeling the Chargers are about to be 1-2.
Why is that?
Because it's the Chiefs and they're coming off that close loss to the Ravens. Chargers are coming off a close loss too, but Patrick Mahomes is going to be very upset.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah, he's good. He's going to be playing with a purpose now.
Game of the week, I promise you. Bucks and Ravens.
Patrick Mahomes back on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw his first interception and lost his first game ever in September. I do not think he does it twice. Chiefs will come back. Chargers will be 1-2.
Tough place to win too.
I don't care what he does. Just throw it to Tyreek.
Fair enough. Tanner has a great point. This might be one of the most fun games to watch. Rams, Buccaneers. Those are two offenses that get it done, and two defenses. I mean, they're talking about these two teams being some of the most complete in the league this year.
Well, you have to think, like power rankings wise, these are the top two teams in the NFL power rankings wise. Bucks being 1 and Rams respectively being number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just a great game to have early in the season is awesome. Because more likely we may see that matchup again in the NFC Championship game, as long as the Rams keep going on the roll that they're going. That's the only way. If they slack up any or let off the gas pedal, you might as well just count them out and try to get the Packers in the NFC Championship game again, where they'll lose again to the Bucks.
I gotta give one shout to some of these games on the screen for the AFC North. Every team right now is currently standing at 1-1. With the Steelers playing the Bengals this week, somebody's going to separate themselves. I think going into this game, I'm more scared for the Steelers than I've ever been playing against the Bengals in many years. Having said that, it does depend on whether or not we have some pass rushers coming back from the injury reserve this week, because if any standard team's pass rush can get to Joey Burrow, then ours is going to get there double time if we have everybody. But I do expect the Browns to win their game against the Bears and the Ravens to win their game against the Lions. So this could be somebody getting lost in the dust here of the AFC North. Another game that I want to look at is the Packers 49ers. I think the 49ers are a very complete team despite their lack of offense last week. I think they're capable of more. And the 49ers defense has always kind of been up to snuff, but we'll see if Aaron Rodgers can kind of stabilize. He tends to play well when the spotlight's on him, and he's got another one for the Sunday night game. So I do expect the Packers to win on the road in this game. But I guess that's probably would be my hottest take. I don't know if that's even like unexpected, but
lukewarm.
It's a lukewarm one. Yeah.
Also,
Rodgers is going to get some more of that tequila in him. He's going to get another good game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, I was going to add this as my other steamer, George Kittle. He's also one of those that he does very good when the spotlight's on him, especially for one-time game. So I expect him to have a good connection with Jimmy G this upcoming Sunday night.
That's a great shout. He hasn't been on the top 5 in fantasy. I don't think he had a good game in week 1.
Coming off an injury like that, though, your first season back, you're not where you need to be.
And 49ers are also in like Ravens territory as far as injured running backs go.
Oh, yeah.
They lost Mostert in week 1, and then they had like 2 or 3 running backs all get hurt.
I think Mitchell's hurt again. Yeah.
Mitchell's hurt. Trey Sermon, I think, got concussed.
And
I'm not sure about their third running back. But
it's a little different when you have Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback, whereas the Ravens have Lamar, who's going to lead that team in rushing no matter who you got back there. And they don't have any weapons. I mean, Latavius Murray is a decent, they're still kind of in go mode. I feel like 49ers with the injuries that they deal with every year have to just kind of bide their time. And it's kind of tough to see.
Latavius Murray is a definite, I mean, NFL starter. You're 100% correct. I mean,
I don't know. Does anybody know who's starting running back for the 49ers now? I don't know. I don't know who it is. It's probably a free agent. I don't know if that's something to look into, but
I mean, if Elijah Mitchell's is able to come back, it'll be him. But
right.
Sure.
Hey, if more running backs get injured, I'm not saying it's going to happen because I was kind of surprised when, the Ravens signed Le'Veon Bell. But, a team may have to start looking for Todd Gurley if, a lot of running backs start getting hurt.
So we got a 2-2-0 teams that are somebody's going to have to lose that game. Lots of teams are kind of sitting on a 1-1 record right now. Panthers and Broncos are 2-2-0 teams that are really expected to go 3-0 this week, based off who they play, which is a very interesting prospect to have those two teams. Which one do you guys like more? Do you like the Panthers or do you like the Broncos more right now?
I like the Broncos.
I'm going Broncos.
I hate their division for them, but as far as a solid team, that team can win playoff games. Teddy Bridgewater does not turn the ball over. They've got two solid running backs. They still have receiver talent, and they still have a very, very solid defense. They're a very complete team. They don't have top-tier talent, but they take care of the football. They run the football, and they play good defense. And those are all really, really good qualities to have.
I think when you saw that, when you saw the coach go with Bridgewater over Drew Lock, you knew, hey, we're gonna let our defense win, and we're gonna have a quarterback in there that's not gonna turn the ball over and get rid of games. So it'll be fun to watch them grind out wins this year, I think.
I believe they had 32 turnovers last year, and that's entirely way too many. And Teddy Bridgewater probably hasn't had 32 interceptions his entire football career.
So he's not your take the shot guy, but he will get the ball where it needs to go. Yeah,
he reminds me of Alex Smith.
Yeah, that's good. That's a smart player.
Sorry, I'm on the fence with it, but the only reason I'm going to say
DJ Moore.
The only reason I'm going to say the Panthers, just looking at the division. If you look at both the AFC and the NFC right now, if you look at both AFC West and NFC West, those are the strongest conferences or strongest divisions within each conference. Well, right now, the Panthers, the only real enemy they have is the Bucs. Because, let's face it, nothing against the Falcons, but they're booty hole cheek on a stick. The Saints, they just – they had a really great game, but, like you said, Luke, they may stay down to earth and you may never be able to come back from that. It just depends on how the defense does. Marshawn Lattimore at cornerback, Cameron Jordan, they got to play better on defense. So right now, the Panthers are looking the best. They have just almost as an exciting offense as the Bucs, just because of average wide receivers, along with, Christian McCaffrey, who is amazing in PPR leagues. So that's the only reason I'm going with the Panthers, is just based on the AFC and NFC. If you look at the AFC West, you got the Chiefs, well, they're the Chiefs. The Chargers, they're doing really great. Justin Herbert, they got some playmakers. And then the Raiders, they're 2-0 right now. Who knows what's going to happen? But, Darren Waller's been good. Hopefully Josh Jacobs can get back from his little toe injury. Henry Ruggs is doing a whole lot better compared to what he did last year. You expect a lot of that out of Alabama receiver talent. So
sure,
that's the only reason I'm rolling with the Panthers.
I think
they also got that big Panther running around on the field. That might scare a few people.
That's a great point, Jake. That would terrify me.
Yeah, terrify you.
Yeah, it is.
Got the fear factor.
I'm a little bummed that I'm a Steelers follower, because I don't know what that would even be. A big steel worker, might not have the same effect.
Big yellow towel.
Waking up at 4 in the morning.
That might be the towel might be cool, but yeah, you make a great point. I think as far as my allegiances go, as much as I would like to say Teddy B and the Broncos, being the Louisville fan that I am, I think the Panthers are a sneaky good team based off of how they played against the Saints. You gotta take into effect how much the Saints tore up the Packers defense, and then the Panthers flipped the script on them entirely. There was not a single time. You can't put a whole lot of blame on Jameis for the result of last week's game because he didn't have any time to throw. If you look, that pass rush was crazy for the Panthers, and it's looking like the Panthers defense back when Luke Kuechly played linebacker for him a little bit. Having said that, I don't think even that the Saints at wide receiver have the weapons that the Texans do, just with the presence of Brandon Cooks and with Michael Thomas being out for the Saints. But Sam Darnold looks like he's a confident young quarterback under Ron Rivera. So
the Adam Gase curse.
Yeah, it could be.
Tannehill. Sam Darnold?
Just get him away from that guy, you know?
Zach Wilson going to be a Hall of Famer after he leaves? Is that?
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But I think that's probably most of the notable games. Just, I'd say, you know, we've covered just about everything. We've been on for a while. And due to my hard drive probably going to be sweating after this video again.
It's crying at this point.
It might be time to wrap it up. I thank everybody for joining you. This was the Wuss this week. Good luck on your fantasy teams. Good luck on your fantasy matchups this week, and we will see you guys next time. Who was our top scorer this week? Hold on a minute.
47.1 points. Or the team.
Anybody know? Yeah, whose team scored the most? I like to shout them out.
159. It was like a 157. I forgot who it was. Scroll down some. Oh, you were there.
I think it was Tanner.
Was it Tanner?
It was 157.
It'd be nice to shout him out. I'll try to
150 range.
I'll try to remember that next time before we do the outro.
It won't switch to week 2 for you, Luke.
No, it won't, will it? It's still loading though. Give it a second. It's the hard drive, man. It literally it has to pass through miles and miles of circuitry to think of anything.
Yeah,
Tanner with 157. Congrats to you, Tanner.
Tanner.
On the big week.
That was not only because Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones
and
touchdowns.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
The booty man kicking some booty.
Bill's defense laying a stinker on Miami also helped out a lot too. So
that is correct.
Congrats to you.
Actually helps out.
And hopefully you can carry all of the success into next week. We'll see what happens, and we will see you next week for the Wuss. Thanks, guys.